welcome to the Lesser Football TV Monday night football chat. I've got a new guest as well. Do introduce yourself.
All right, Kukuletu from Efosloras. Actually, introduced you by a friend of mine, Celso. I played soccer with him in Efoslo. Yeah, go by the name Utekomesh. Yeah, played soccer with him, and sadly, I'm a Man United fan. And today, just came to the show wearing this because it's like the last jersey we use to lift the Premier League. So yeah, maybe it'll bring good luck to the show today. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Anything is possible, I suppose. But obviously, I will get to the United game. But I felt like we could discuss maybe the games that took over the weekend. Let's be less biased and go through some other teams and see how they did. Obviously,
Now,
we're gonna start with obviously we're gonna start with the Liverpool game. That's the first kickoff for the weekend games for the Premier League. Liverpool played Brighton, and they were in control in the game. They won 2-0, and for them it was just basic. They just got over the line. It looked too easy at times. And Liverpool are just a well-drilled team. So they will be challenges for the league. They will take City to the last game of the league campaign, by the looks of it. So yeah, man. What do you think about Liverpool this season?
Liverpool, I think, looking at what you just said, mentioning the game they just came from, playing 2-0, winning 2-0 against Brighton. But you need to remember they just came from Spain in Madrid playing Athletic. No, not Atletico, actually. It's Man United was playing. So they were playing, they lost 1 to Inter Milan. So you need to understand, just playing that game obviously takes the toll, especially after you having to travel. And then, looking at the game, so I saw a clean sheet, one. So that's good for them. Salah, top scorer in the league, he got a goal. And the new signing, Luis Diaz, also got a goal. So for Liverpool fans, they're actually just pushing Man City up until, because that's what the coach said to say. Man City are having the lead, but what they want to do is just to make sure they push them up until they get a gap. So early kickoff, usually there's nerves when it's an early kickoff. Usually there's also always upset, but Liverpool just made sure that clean sheet, top goal scorer of theirs scored. So it's a good win for them. They closed the gap for City, but obviously up until tonight because City is playing Crystal Palace as well.
Yeah, very very well on point with that one. But yeah, man. I feel like Liverpool. I don't know. Like Liverpool could do something amazing this season, even like compared to the other seasons they've played. They've got the opportunity of winning an FA Cup, got an opportunity of winning the Champions League, got the opportunity of winning look. I don't want to see that. I'm not going to lie. I do not want to see that. But those are the possibilities, sadly. And it's looking more and more likely. Like with just look at Lucas Diaz, for example. I mean, he just went in and he just fit in. Like they knew exactly what they wanted, and he didn't struggle. What other teams, when they buy, players always struggle, this and that. But he fitted right in, and he looks like he could be one of the replacements for one of the players in the front three, because we're hearing that Salah has cooled down talks for contract negotiations, and he could be leaving in the summer or next summer. So those negotiations have broken down. So Liverpool already have contingency plans in place. So could say Liverpool's a well-run club at the moment, and they look impressive.
Yeah, they playing good. I think you may be expecting a lot. Looking at what they have, like you said, the way they're going for the quadruple. So even their fans are
Mm.
actually quite excited that they're going for it. Yeah. But looking at the game that they had, the Champions League, I guess they had a 2-0 advantage from the first leg, losing 1-0, and then they still scraped through to the next round. I think maybe it's just a matter of balancing. Winning your EFL Cup, coming to the league, making sure you're closing that gap on Man City, going into the Champions League, and making sure you go to the next round. I think, Lucas Diaz comes in at a time where Diogo Jota has been a star player after Salah, of course, at the club. Firmino and Mane are kind of like been quiet now, so I guess it's time that Luis Diaz just shines, especially with Jota's injury. So yeah, for me, I feel compared to Man City, in terms of rotational players, especially on the upfront, not much depth. So yeah, looking at it's crunch time now. April, May. Looking at the penultimate games of the EPL, Champions League, and also the FA Cup, I don't think they'll push through on all the cups. Maybe on the league, because teams like City, you have squads where they can come in on a cup competition on midweek. They would play, win 5-0, going into Champions League away in Portugal, win again with a big score. Yeah, Liverpool, they're doing good, I think, as far as they with the depth they have, and then the coach is actually rotating players quite enough. And yeah, Lucas Diaz, I think, has been the creep of the crop right now, just getting the goals, especially when they need it, with the likes of Salah maybe post the African Cup of Nations that's just trying to get back into the full form, and losing Jota on the injury. So look at Diaz, yeah, he just came in, assists, goals, and yeah, it's been a good signing for them. It's been a good signing for them. But yeah, we'll see.
Mm. No, definitely, man. And obviously, besides the Liverpool game, there was our game, obviously, Man United and Spurs. I heard Ralph Ragnick was like saying, the game somewhat felt like a funeral. He was like, he felt like he was attending a funeral, and it was just dead. Like he felt like he was coaching like the worst team ever. And then towards the end of the match, he felt like anything was possible. He was talking about things like, hey, maybe this team can go and win the Champions League. Maybe you never know. But I saw a lot of worrying things in the game. I'm not gonna lie. From Man United perspective, leaking too many goals. We just look all over the place in defense, and we still are very careless in position. Every time we can't keep the ball for a long time. Our midfielders ran through a lot. There was no control whatsoever. So we already know the midfield problem has always been a problem at Man United. So we also, I feel like we only now starting to play towards Ronaldo's strengths. Ronaldo was a man possessed yesterday, and in fact, it was on Saturday. He was a man possessed, and he got his 107th goal. He's now officially the world record holder for the most goals scored in the history of the game.
Yeah, 87.
Yeah, my guy. So he has no right to score that many goals. And there were strikers saying that it should not be possible. But it is what it is. So yeah, tell me about the game from your perspective.
Yeah, looking at the game, I think if a Man United fan, I'm a bit worried. Of course, actually going into the second leg against Atletico, because I believe this game took a lot on us. I mean, we had to make a comeback just to make sure we win the game. So fortunately, we're playing at home, so we don't need to travel. So we just need to maybe just take a break, light training for the second leg. Yeah, looking at what you just mentioned, I think one of our biggest flaws, defense. Looking at the teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, which we just spoke about now, your Man City, those teams, they keep a clean sheet. Looking at how Chelsea played yesterday against Newcastle, they won the game at the end only because they kept a clean sheet. If you can look at Chelsea, they're always keeping clean sheet. They win 5-0, and keeping a clean sheet is actually one thing that makes you possible to win a game. So yeah, we're leaking goals. Okay, unfortunate on that penalty which against Tellers, which I feel was a bit harsh looking at the call we got on the other end where Dyer actually handled the ball with his hands out wide, and yet we didn't get a call. Yeah, so that was one. The penalty, which I feel is harsh. I guess VAR is up to the interpretation of the referee. And then the second goal, luckily our captain, he's having a hard time scoring an on goal where he's been under fire. So that's another tough one. Yeah. But like you said, I think the highlight of the game is actually Ronaldo being in the news. One for scoring a hat trick again after your Lewandowski and Benzema scored hat tricks in midweek in the Champions League, and then here he is ending the week with a hat trick, and not just only a hat trick, but actually taking a lead, like you said, being 807 goals. It's very big what he just did. Yeah, so yeah, looking at the game, Tottenham are not to say they're also a top 4 contender, but obviously European places and getting points against them was very important because we've got like 3 games deficit against Arsenal. We actually won a game yesterday for Leicester and point behind, so we needed to get this one, especially changing focus into the Champions League. Yeah, hopefully the team recovers well because we're playing Atletico. Atletico played, I think, on Friday, if not Saturday early. So we need to make sure that we recover well so that we can play them. 1-1 going into the second leg. Probably Ronaldo's his favorite competition. I mean, the Champions League. So probably he wants to extend his goal record in some more. So yeah, Tottenham 3-2. Good game. Clean sheet, no clean sheet. It's bad. But yeah, 3 points nevertheless, and heading into the second leg against Atletico.
No, well said, my guy. And looking at the fixtures that we're gonna we're about to go into, especially the ones in this month, it's very crucial to our season. Our season could end, and this is the reality of the matter. Our game against Atletico now this is the reality of the yeah, man. As I was saying, our game takes precedence against Atletico Madrid now because we need to now try and go for this competition. We don't know if we're gonna take everyone. So I mean, what do you think? Because this is a very important month, and thinking about it, it's also an important month for the likes of Portugal because they have to qualify for the World Cup now. They're playing the playoffs games, and this could kind of affect the performances of Bruno and guys like Ronaldo. There might be, the fixture congestion might play a factor, in our season going into the next month or so. But, the game is very crucial. Like, we have to beat Atletico Madrid. But if we're going to go into that game playing the way we've been playing most of the season, I mean, we could it could turn ugly. But if we put in a proper performance, United's been a yo-yo team this season. Let's be honest. We don't know whether we're gonna win or whether we're gonna play one half well, we're gonna play 2 halves well, or we're just not gonna pitch up completely. So what do you think? That because the Atletico game for me is still a worry. I'm still not convinced of this team.
Looking at the game, you just mentioned the fixture congestion. I think one glimmer of light is that after this game is international week. I think our next game is on the 2nd of April against Leicester at home. So looking at the game upcoming, like I mentioned, the game against Tottenham, I feel like it took a lot from us because going into a Champions League game, you don't want to play on gear 4, but now Tottenham pushed us to actually having to do that. Hopefully, going into the game, we're gonna have the likes of, I'm not sure if Shaw is back on injury, but we'll have the likes of maybe Wan Bissaka, just rotational, so that you Pogba didn't have a full game, so he might start. So hopefully we'll rotate and have players that will start because the game took a lot of us, the game in the weekend. And then, yeah, like I said, Ronaldo, this is his favorite competition. He's going to be playing at home, Old Trafford fans. So he needs to just push because after this, he's going to have a almost like a over a week break because the next game is on the 2nd of April. But yeah, like you say, it's a very tough because lately you can't actually predict how we're gonna play. Sometimes you go into the game, you feel like we're playing Burnley, we're playing Southampton. It should be an easy 3-pointer, and yet we come out there with a goal. So yeah, going into this game, we played. We played very well. Combination, as you actually saw this how the Milan goal came in. So it was very good play between the likes of Bruno, Fred, Ronaldo, and actually Bruno getting that final assist. Yeah, now let's be hopeful. It's the Champions League, man. Looking at what Madrid did to PSG, Man United can also do that. It's the tournament of magic. So we'll see. We'll be hopeful at Old Trafford.
Oh yeah, my guy. By the way, Sims. Since you just joined us now, man, we were talking about Man United and their chances in the Champions League, and obviously the game against Tottenham that we won over the weekend. But obviously Ronaldo breaking his record, and us obviously playing, our leaky defense. I know you're not a fan of Maguire because you've been saying Maguire has been one of our weakest points in our team, and I don't blame you because I'm also not a fan. To be honest, Maguire has been atrocious. Our captain hasn't been consistent, and it doesn't serve. It doesn't help us in any way because if the team is now looking at our captain, and our captain is always picked on bad performances, it sets a wrong and bad precedence. In terms of performance-wise and levels, other players won't feel like they have to perform at a high level to get into the team because they'll feel like they're still gonna get picked regardless. So yeah, man, please do share your what you thought about our performance against Spurs, and obviously looking at our game that we're about to play tomorrow against Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, man. How's it, guys? Hope you guys are doing good. And well, I'm pretty sure you guys had a great weekend. I mean, we won, so that's always a great situation as a Man United fan. Even though looking at the situation, it shouldn't be like that. But looking at the game on weekend, it was quite a. I have mixed feelings about the game because we're not as good. Because I mean, like you said, our defense is we have a very bad defense because of one guy. That's the problem. Like one guy messes up the whole back four. We have Varane who performs at his best. He does things easily, simple, wins the ball, has the ball if he has to. And then we have Maguire who always decides to do things very hard. Even that own goal, when he scored the own goal, he doesn't, as a leader, he can't lead. I've always said he can't even lead his back four. As a leader, he was supposed to see that the guy who what's his name again? Forgot his name, but the Tottenham player who was offside. He shouldn't have done what he did. He should have come down, relaxed, and looked at his surroundings, but instead he didn't. So it's one of those things that we always complain about the same thing, but the captain, Maguire, he does not even get benched. But at the one side, I understand that Ragnick doesn't really have the power at the moment. Even when he tries, he doesn't really have the power. When you get to your team and you're an interim coach or manager, you can say all you want to say, but if you have the board that we have, that tells you that such and such player, you need to play them. I mean, we've seen for so many times that the players with Man United are the ones that have the power. Rashford has the power. Maguire has the power. Most of the English players, they have the power. So it's not easy for an outsider like Ragnick to come in and say, you're getting benched. I mean, we've seen what has been happening when he's been benching Rashford. Rashford came out saying, he's thinking about his future. He's not getting enough game time. So when you see such things from players, then you know that the coaches and the manager don't really have power. But looking at the game, all I can say that game is that keep Cristiano happy, and Man United fans will be happy. And by saying that, we all know he's a goal scorer. When we set up our team in a manner that gets the ball to him, and one of those situations is getting the crosses very early. I know we didn't score a header in open play game where, let's say, wingers or whatever crossed the ball, but there were two crosses, if not one, from like Tellers. Tellers put the ball very early, and Cristiano was able to get to the ball, even though he did not score from that cross. But you can see that there's possibilities for us to score more goals if they get in those crosses very early, And with Cristiano, yeah, I suggest, because I've been seeing a lot of memes as well, people saying, if Cristiano wants to go back to Portugal, I'll take him there myself. It's one of those, that guy has always been a professional. You keep him happy, you keep him playing, you keep everyone around him playing in the same standard as he's playing, then the team can perform. But if one guy is a professional, despite the fact that he's won everything, because that's the thing, he's more professional than the people who have never won anything. Maguire's never won any medal. He doesn't have any silverware, but he's more professional than him. Instead, with Maguire, we're hearing rumors that he's the one who's busy leaking things to the media, who's leaking our starting lineup. And it's like, the guy who's doing that, you're keeping him as a captain. The guy who's played for us before, who's breaking records, who's even breaking his own records. Because, when I saw this stat that was put up, they said Cristiano is the first player to break the record of scoring 10 plus goals. And he's the last one who scored 10 plus goals, and then he left, and then he came back and did the same thing. How many number 7s has Man United had? So many, but they haven't been able to reach those standards. And it's like, okay, when it's like that, and then you hear like the amount of disrespect, and I've always said, I know I love the guy, I do, I'm never gonna even hide that, but at the same time, I love football. And when you see people disrespecting someone who's actually a professional, even if you're not looking at his age and what he's achieved, and he's always pushing, he's always trying to push the players that are playing around him. But instead, if someone is not willing to listen to you, you can't really force them. They must be willing to learn, and then he'll be willing to teach. But if they're not, he can't really force to teach. So, but I remember when I was watching the game, when I was now listening to the pundits, just forgot this guy's name. He used to play for Tottenham, and then he coached them. He said players like Elanga and Sancho seem to be listening and trying to learn from the guy. And you can see with the different type of play that they are now incorporating with their play. But people like Rashford, people like Greenwood before his scandal, there was no change to how they play. They play the same way. I take the ball, I run at players, I try shoot from a very long range, even if the shot is trash. I will try and shoot. When we're not saying, because people are gonna now come and say, but Cristiano decided to shoot from far. Yes, him down. Rashford will shoot from so far, and the shot is trash. And it's like no one tells him that stop playing like that. He's a winger that decides to always shoot. And when he decides to cross, the cross is trash. There's a cross that he decided to put in that game, and that ball skipped everyone and went out. And it's like, do you even practice crossing? Like, what do you really do? And one thing that we've seen with these players is that some of these players, since Ole was in power as a manager, there's no improvement. They play the same way, But here comes the interim coach, people like Sancho, who are new to this team, or people like Fred and Tellers, who have been there there's improvement because they're listening to what he's telling them. But people, like I said, people are not willing to listen and learn. They won't change how they play. Because we're always complaining about the same thing when it comes to players like Maguire and Rashford, but nothing ever improves. So then it's like, okay, are the coaches or the manager doing their job when these people are training, or they are just not willing to listen? That's where the problem comes, But the game on Saturday was amazing, and I've been itching, and when I say I've been itching, I've been feeling that this guy's gonna score a hat trick. Obviously, I missed with the past games that we were watching when he played, but I kept, because there's certain games where if the ball comes to him early on and they are willing to put the ball for him, you can see that he can score. But if they are not, he won't score that hat trick. So that game was amazing with how he played and how he pushed. He didn't only score, but he was pushing. He was pushing the players around him. Let's go mark the ball. He was closing them down. He was even coming back and winning the ball and getting the players to go forward. As much as that's not his type of play, because people keep on complaining he cannot press. And us who actually watch football and not just watch the mistakes, we watch everything. We see that he shouldn't even be doing that. Obviously, I know that's Ragnick's style of play. We need to press. But now at the same time, it's weird to tell Cristiano, someone who's a goal scorer, to go and press. Yes, he can press, but don't tell him to now come all the way from where he's supposed to be scoring to come win the ball. So if he does that, then who is going to be up front to score when the ball gets to him? So the game was amazing. The way he played, the way he made his decisions, his passes. And I've always said with Cristiano, if he plays with people who are very smart, who like playing your 1-2 type passes, who are quick with the ball, instead of holding on to the ball too long, you can score a lot of goals with Cristiano. That's why when you play for Madrid, for example, with Benzema, they understood each other and they were quick. When the ball was on his feet, he was quick to pass the ball to whoever he was playing with, to quickly get up front and score. But when you play, because I've always said I love Bruno, but at times when he plays, he holds on to the ball too much, to the point that when, let's say, Cristiano is in a position to score, he won't be able to score. Because why? Bruno decided to hold on to the ball too long, So looking at the game on Saturday, it was an amazing game. Like I was very excited with how we, like I said, we didn't really play a great game, but how we tried controlling the game by making sure that when we push forward, we can score. Because with the Man United, we can always score. The decision is with us if we want to score. And by saying that, I'm saying players like your Rashford, if they decide not to hold on too much to the ball, it makes it easier to score. Because people get into positions to score, and then when the ball gets to them, they score. And then Maguire, I've ran out of words of what I must say about Maguire, because he always makes these tougher mistakes. And when he scored that own goal, I was so pissed off, because I was like, how can Cristiano score to put the team towards winning, and then someone just decides to score an own goal?
Just one thing, I think medal. Didn't you with Ranieri? Yeah, I heard you say he has no. I heard you say he has no. Yeah,
Maguire. Nah. The only thing that I know that he has done is get a promotion to the EPL. That one does not count. You were in a lower league and now you want to get to the big dogs, to the big leagues. So to me, it's like, if he's never won an FA Cup, he has never won the English Premier League, he has never won the Carabao Cup, he has never won the Champions League. He left Leicester and then Leicester won a cup. But him personally, with like the English Premier League team, he has never won. That's why I know some people will say it's silverware because he got promotion with the team I was playing with, and then they got promoted to play in the EPL. But yeah, man, I don't like Maguire. And it's not because of me listening to other people. It's me watching him play and deciding that it's trash. Because I'm not one of those people who make certain decisions from what other people say. I actually watched the game, and I'm like, nah, this guy, it's like there's no improvement with the guy. He plays, he week in and week out, he makes mistakes. There's never a game where he doesn't make a mistake. if he doesn't let someone run past him and then they score, or he doesn't close down his whoever he has to close down, or like the mistake he made on Saturday, decided to stretch out while the guy that they were passing the ball to was offside and then on goal. So to me, it's like, and the worst part is that there's better people outside, but because he's the captain, they can't even get a sniff, So it pisses me off to the point where if I was the coach, I was not even going to play him when we play on Tuesday. I feel like we have.
Let's not these guys talking about Maguire, but I do understand he's very frustrating, and him being a captain is letting the team down, because now the likes of Arsenal, which is another game that played yesterday, those guys are doing very well. They're keeping clean sheets, and yet our captain is actually scoring goals on our own net. So looking at Arsenal, 2 or 3 games in hand, and yet 1 point above us. So although they still have to play Liverpool, they still have to play us, Aston Villa. But they're having quite a good run, and looking at other fixtures, they're gonna play relegation threatened teams, which is also a plus, but we're also playing that. So it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough one, but we'll see. We'll see.
Man. I just wanted to say about Champions League. With Atletico.
You wanna add something?
Yeah. In terms of Atletico tomorrow with our Champions League, I agree with you guys. We have the biggest chance to pull what Real Madrid pulled. We have the biggest chance. It's up to us on how we set up and which players we choose to play. And when I say set up, if I'm the coach or the manager, I literally bench Maguire and play Lindelof and Varane. We've seen Varane and Lindelof play the best defense, and they've kept a clean sheet. I know we did not score in that Watford game, but they kept a clean sheet. Despite the fact that we're getting attacked, they played simple, and they made sure to cover and defend. So I wouldn't play Maguire. I would decide to bench him, but we have the biggest chance. In the form that Cristiano is in, if they get the ball to him, he'll score. And I mean, Atletico know him. Simeone knows him as well. If they get the ball to him, he'll be hard to close down or defend. So we have the biggest chance to actually even score 2 goals and then defend properly. That's all we need to do. Score 2, defend. And then we can then decide to then hit them with counters, because once we score very early, they'll be now panicking to score. And once a team does that, with the type of players and the type of pace that we have up front, we can kill off the game and kill them. We just need to score early, and we're playing at home. So seeing that we're playing at home, we have the biggest chance, seeing that we played 1-1 when we played at away. So I just hope that the coach chooses the right players. I've been hearing people saying if Bruno comes back from COVID, they should play him on the right, where they usually play Rashford or Sancho. Yes, on the right. So I wouldn't oppose that, because the way he plays, he can't get in the crosses. So I feel like he would play nicely with Dalot if Ragnick decides to play Dalot, because he's someone who likes overlapping as well. So playing with someone like Bruno on that side, they'll both get the crosses in for Cristiano. If Sancho, because we've seen Sancho has improved so much, and if he continues playing like that, we can even get penalties, free kicks, because how Atletico plays. They're very rough the way they play, and with the type of players, very skillful, very quick, we can make the game very easy for us. The only thing that we need to do better that we haven't been doing is defend. I feel like if we defend properly and keep a clean sheet, we can win the game easily.
No, well put, man. And obviously, where's Mesh? Is Mesh still there?
I'm still here. Just have my daughter. She just came running around, so I just had to chase her away.
Okay. Now, man. Obviously, before we move on, do you want to add anything to what Sim said?
No, I think I can summarize and say this guy doesn't like Maguire, but nobody does, and with the team, him being captain is very scary, because now we wonder how what would it take for him to be benched, for him to have other players play in front of him actually. So yeah, it's yeah, his Maguire's performance has been, yeah, no words. But yeah, I totally agree with Sims. And going into this game against Atletico, we need to keep a clean sheet, guys. Atletico hasn't been doing well themselves, so we need to keep a clean sheet. And having guys like Maguire, you kind of wonder how we'll play. But yeah, we'll see. Champions League magic.
Mm. No, obviously, yeah, man. There was also fixtures that took place that would affect our top four, place as well. Obviously, I'm gonna start with the Arsenal game against Leicester. Arsenal looking good, guys. Arsenal looking. I hate to say it, but I always knew. And in fact, last week I think was it 2 weeks back or something. I told Mameni Young, I told him he was like saying Arsenal are not gonna do anything, this season, and they're not a threat to us for our top four. He reckons Spurs were more of a threat than Arsenal were, and I told him specifically the way Arsenal have been playing, it's very scary because they have that fighting spirit. They look like a team that at the moment can't do no wrong. They can't do anything wrong, and Arteta's plan is coming together finally, and we're all making memes and making fun of Arsenal the previous years with AFTV and whatnot, but what do you think? Because I'm very impressed at the moment. Arsenal look like they have more of a direction than Man United do. It looks like there's a plan and they're sticking to that plan, and eventually it's going to pay off for them. But yeah, man, I want to hear what you think, man. Obviously they swept Leicester aside. Leicester haven't been a good team this season. They've considerably dropped off completely. So Brendan Rodgers might find himself without a job maybe next season. And yeah, man, I enjoyed the game really. So what do you think, overall about Arsenal and their progression this season?
I'll keep mentioning one thing: clean sheet. Aaron Ramsdale, I think he was the man of the match for that game. There was a point where Brendan Rodgers actually had a reaction where he thought the ball was in, but actually Ramsdale just took it out. And yeah, the score was still 1-0 at the time, and the team was that short. Actually, he saved that shot, and he brought the team back. So they got the second goal from the penalty from Lacazette, which. Hey, VAR interpretation. That header by Partey. Yeah, I may have been going into the goal, but I don't think it touched Soyuchu there. It's but like I said, VAR, it's up to the interpretation of the referee. Yeah, they got a convincing win, nevertheless. But yeah, star of the game, Aaron Ramsdale. Looking at how they signed him from a relegation team, a team that was relegated last season, and then you're thinking a team that conceded the most amount of goal, and you sign a keeper from that team, you kind of wondered what the Arsenal people thought of there. But yeah, looking at him, Leno, I'm not sure if he's gonna get game time very soon because Ramsdale is actually making sure that he's cementing that place, and having the likes of your Ben White, Gabriel, just there. It's yeah, they've been solid. I mean, what we've been failing to do against the likes of Burnley, against the likes of Southampton, is just to keep a clean sheet. We keep conceding goals. Sim's favorite player, Maguire, letting on goals. So that's why we actually at this position. Yeah, Arsenal looking good. They're playing Liverpool next. And then they've got Aston Villa, and then they've got ties against Crystal Palace and then Brighton, and then having more tough games. But yeah, I think they've gotten the points when it mattered. The games in hand are going to be tough ones. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Obviously, I might try and bring in another guest, but obviously, just before I do that, Arsenal, yeah. Do you think they'll finish in the top four?
Do you want an honest opinion or a biased one? Because obviously, I wish they don't. Looking at their games, they the last 3 games they got Leeds, Newcastle, and Everton, which I feel maybe Newcastle and Leeds are going to be one of the tough games. So yeah, knowing Arsenal, they'll get an injury of 2 players, key players, having your maybe a keeper injured, and you know how they struggle with depth. Yeah, they've got about 10 games left, so we'll see. I don't want to make the call, but I can only say I hope Man United makes the top 4. But looking at the past 3-5 games, Arsenal look more likely to. But yeah, they've last time they finished top 4 was in 6 years ago. So maybe they don't have the capacity to do that. Maybe Arteta brought something new, but we'll see. Can't really. Yeah, it's a very tough question you're asking. Like honestly, it's. I wish they don't. So we'll see. We'll see.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Celso, by the way, once again. For obviously bringing you on, man, and it's been refreshing. It's been refreshing getting another perspective from another football fan, and yeah, man. I mean, I know. I put you on the spot with that prediction. You know, it's a very hard one to actually, put forward, should I say? And yeah, man. I mean, I've said Man United is not making top 4. I know it's bold, but based on the performances we've seen from our side, you know, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to say that we with our chests out that we making top 4. You know, from a non-biased view, we're not making it. You know, and it is what it is, man. And who knows, man? Champions League is still there. You know, as long as you're in it, you know, you always have a chance as long as you stay in the competition. You know, I've seen Chelsea, you know, the worst Chelsea sides win it, you know, and maybe it's because you'd say that they were very defensively solid. And with us, it's kind of like the opposite. We're not very defensively solid. So it could work against us just because we can't really defend at the back. But yeah, besides Arsenal game, there was the Chelsea game, you know, Chelsea game. Yeah, with Chelsea, man, hey, there's a lot to discuss. This is why I left it for like the last game to discuss, or rather the last team to discuss in the Premier League. Chelsea, they're going through the most at the moment. You know, I've seen their fans are going AWOL. You know, there's some that don't even answer their WhatsApp messages anymore when I text them. You know, it's political. It's politics and football, you know, coming together, and it shouldn't mix, you know, to be honest, because it's unfair on those players who are not involved in whatever is happening in you know, with the whole situation in with Ukraine and Russia, and now they're paying just because of association, you know, just because they play for someone whose country is involved in that. So it's, you know, obviously, you know, I wanted to hear, because from a Man United fan, I still am a football fan first. And what is happening at Chelsea is just ridiculous, because if you're gonna sanction the likes of Chelsea for what is happening with Russia, then you could easily say that everyone else should be sanctioned, because you have to be balanced in your views. You know, United States had their own problems. You know, UK also has their own problems. You know, it's not no one is innocent. No one is innocent. You know, they you know, so this is why I personally think that you should not be involved in politics in football, because it's gonna end up being that way. If you are being fair, then everyone should be cancelled, not just Chelsea. You know, America and UK have also been, you know, involved in war crimes. You know, nothing has been done about that. You know, Saudi Arabia has been bombing Nepal. You know, it is what it is, guys, and it's just unfortunate that those who hold the economy at the moment, they decide who they sanction and who they don't. They can't sanction themselves, I suppose. So, I want to hear you guys about the Chelsea situation. Obviously, I'll get into the Newcastle game, but this is actually, I feel like it's bigger. It's big at the moment, and it's a hot topic. Personally, I feel sorry for them. So I don't know if the rest of you guys feel sorry for them, or you're also laughing, and making a
No,
joke out of
man.
this.
I think,
I'll start with you. I'll start with you, Mesh, and then I'll move to Sims.
like you mentioned, it's first and foremost, although the likes of Chelsea, you mentioned the 2012 triumph of the UCL. Yeah, we also got a rivalry. But yeah, as a football fan, I'm even now I'm trying to get my head around how a football team is now being punished because of the 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 owner being associated. It's not even direct. So to be honest, I'm still trying to get my head around how the UK got to that decision. And yeah, like you've seen, even friends, even fans, I think those are the biggest now victims because now new tickets cannot be sold. Some of the shops are being closed. I mean, Chelsea just won the Club World Cup, and now people would want to have a jersey with the Club World Cup crest, and now they're not even able to do that. I mean, they're the best team in the world. We like it or not, they just won the Club World Cup. Yeah, so yeah, um, looking at what's happening outside the field, I'm also just still so confused how Chelsea are being dragged into this because of the owner. But yeah, nevertheless, going inside the field, I think looking at Chelsea, the players and the coach, Thomas Tuchel, they're very professional because I think the first game they played after this was the Burnley game, which they won 5-0. And now they come into this one. Newcastle, I think the last 5 games, Newcastle have won 3 through 2, and now they're coming into Chelsea. I mean, Newcastle had about 7 shots, equaling to Chelsea's 8. So it was quite a tight game. Kai Havertz, a player which I feel, I must admit, I'm actually eating humble pie. When he came from Germany, I felt the price tag was too high for such a slow player. I didn't understand. But now the more he plays, I'm like, okay, I get why it was a big deal now coming from Germany. But yeah, very professional, the team. I think they're playing Champions League again, right? If I'm not mistaken, because yeah, it was Liverpool and Man City that qualified last season. So they're going into another Champions League game themselves. So yeah, it doesn't get easy for them. It doesn't get easy for them. But yeah, very professional. One thing they do, they always keep a clean sheet, very defensive. I mean, even when they won the Champions League, they won 1-0 against the top attacking team, Man City. So them keeping a clean sheet, with them having Mendy and that good defense is one of their strengths. And yeah, going into the next game, I wonder how they'll adjust because of all that's been happening in the boardroom. I just wonder when it'll start creeping into the field. So yeah, Man United fan, but overall I'm a football fan, and what I'm seeing is just so confusing. I can't even understand what's happening.
Sims, you wanna go on the topic as well? We were discussing Chelsea, obviously, and whatever's happening with them. And obviously their game against Newcastle, they won obviously, but there's deeper laying down, like there's deeper issues within Chelsea, and just lost Sims now. Yeah, man. Obviously, I just lost Sims now as I was about to actually tell him to further elaborate on what you were saying, but I'll come back to that topic just now, but I feel like we can move on to La Liga. I don't know if you were watching some La Liga games, and there were a couple of fixtures that took place on Saturday. Obviously, the first one that took place was on Friday. It was the Atletico and Cade game. Atletico won that game 2-1. They were flexing their muscle, ready for Man United on Tuesday and stuff like that. So, what do you think with Atletico? Because it's been an underwhelming season for them, and for Simeone. But they're very inconsistent. You know, they're in the top four, obviously, but they're very inconsistent. They leak goals. They don't look like a side that they were a couple of years ago, and it's just, I feel like they've reached the ceiling. I feel like Simeone has reached his ceiling in terms of what he can do for the club. You know, but yeah, what do you think? You know, with in terms of Atletico Madrid?
Yeah, one thing I must say, Atletico going into play Man United, like I said, looking at they seem to have the advantage. One, they played on Friday. Man United only played, was it Saturday or Sunday? It was Saturday.
Yeah.
Atletico had a stroll against lower side Cadiz, and yet Man United played a hard game against Tottenham. So yeah, Atletico, they're not doing good themselves. Looking at the table, I mean, they're champions, and yet it's been underwhelming, like you're mentioning. Even Real Madrid is actually leading the table, not because they're a good team. Not taking away, they're also my La Liga team, but I don't think they've been that good. They're only leading the table because every other team has been doing really bad, with Barcelona only coming now into the game. And yeah, Atletico, they've done, yeah, they in the top four now, obviously always featuring in the Champions League. So yeah, their game, they scored. Joao Felix also got a goal, which he also got
Mhm.
against us on the first leg, just putting a header against Maguire. So yeah, they've not been doing good themselves. That's why I'm saying Man United should fancy their chances. Atletico is known to be a very good side, but they've been leaking goals themselves. And Ronaldo likes to play against Atletico. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But it's been a tough La Liga season for them. Being champions, this is not how you respond, especially with the likes of Barcelona. You should be cementing your place and just making sure you get the title again.
In Maguire. So yeah, they've not been doing good.
Sims, Sims, you're gonna have to mute like when we're talking, you know, because like there's some sort of like the sound effects, you know, coming from your background. But yeah, man, like you said, with in terms of Atletico, you know, they haven't, Man United have a chance, like legit chance to get them out of the Champions League. And, you know, it's better than us having, imagine if we had got PSG as initially put, you know, because it could have either been PSG right now kicking us out of the Champions League, and definitely we're going to be kicked out. PSG is going to knock us out. Like, as much as it's sad to say that, but now it's like, you know, there's a pathway now. If we beat Atletico Madrid, we meet either, I think we're going to meet Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, you know, and it's tricky, man. It's tricky. Real Madrid have a good record against us, and although they're not the team they used to be, but they have the experience still. They have the experience of getting through their you know what I'm saying, through these ties in the Champions League. They have the experience of reaching in the later stages of the competition. They have the experience of winning the competition. So it's gonna be essentially hard, you know. Obviously I'm talking about Real Madrid because now we move into them now in terms of, you know, the game that took place over the weekend. And Real Madrid, they apparently, you know, I don't know if the game is taking place on Monday, or is it today, or is it tomorrow, or the La Liga.
No, today. I think it's playing tonight.
It's playing tonight.
It's playing tonight.
Yeah. Only, it's Sevilla the ones who played. I think they played a draw. Yeah. So Madrid
Yeah. Real Madrid. I mean, the league is theirs. You know, I mean, they have to literally, you know, have to considerably drop crazy amounts of points if they want to lose the league. So, you know, for them, I think it's been a routine sort of thing this season with the league title. Barcelona have been struggling, but then they just now got to the level that they need to be, and they might finish the season very strongly. That's a huge possibility. They might even bag a Europa League. It's sad to say it. We don't want to hear Barcelona saying or us saying that Barcelona should be winning Europa Leagues and stuff like that. But it is what it is. We all go through the trials of tribulation. But with Barca, I'm impressed, man. They're coming back, slowly, and there's more investors now apparently lining up to even help them get out of their situation right now. So Barcelona obviously came back from 1-0. I was watching that game. They came back from 1-0 down to winning the game 2-1. Yeah, please do share. I'll start with Sims and then I'll move to Mesh. What did you think about Barca's victory?
Well, Barca, they're coming. I'm not a fan of Barcelona. I'm a Real Madrid fan, but yeah, one thing I'll have to come out and agree and raise my hands. Did they coming? Like that's a clear example of a team that decides to go for a coach or a manager that has a clear understanding on how he wants to play, and with the players that already they have, he decided to instill that gameplay, with these players, and they're doing it. Even players who just got to Barca, Aubameyang is scoring almost every game. Is scoring, That's why you see that when there's a coach who knows what he wants to do, it's clear. So they're coming. I won't even lie. I'm a bit afraid that we might even get smacked. Madrid might get smacked when the Clasico is playing, because the way they're playing right now, no, they're coming, man. That's what I'm saying. Because I look at Madrid. Madrid is playing, but at times they have certain mistakes that make them not to score or not to, because their defense is solid, yeah. But at times, Carvajal is the one that they usually go through. You saw even Mbappe. Mbappe did the same thing when PSG was playing against Madrid. Most of the chances he was going through Carvajal. So that's where my problem is. If Madrid fix up the situation, maybe Clasico might have a chance. But Barcelona is coming. Because even people like Daniel Alves, who is a grandpa if you look at the youngsters that Barcelona have. But he is coming. He's pushing. Like I even saw him dribbling skills and then passing the ball to Dembele. Even Dembele, who we've been hearing rumors that he wants to leave. Right now, he seems like he's happy. And he's playing with, his former, I don't know if they were friends, but they used to play together for Dortmund. They are playing. And the way everyone is playing, even youngsters, it's like, the way I look at Barcelona now, it's like the time when Barcelona started playing with your Messi, the youngsters that they are bringing in with a coach that has a clear understanding what he wants to do. So that's what I'm saying. Looking at them and looking at what Xavi is trying to do, I mean, right now, they might even end the season as number 2. Because I think right now they are joint number 3 with Atletico, if I'm not mistaken. They might even finish. I mean, no one thought that they would even be on the top 4. When the league started and how they've been playing, no one, not even me, as much as I'm not a fan, but I was like, nah, y'all are trash. Because there's saying they're trash because I'm a opposition, fan, but then it's me saying, like, nah, they're coming. So I feel like they'll end the season very strongly. I agree with you guys there. They'll end the season very strongly. And I do believe they might even win the Europa. As much as some might say it's an embarrassment because they've been waiting for the Champions League for so long. But this will be a build-up for them, especially for a new coach like Xavi. This will be a build-up for them. It can give them, more going forward, because remember, they still to try go sign other players. Imagine if they go sign Haaland, or they go sign another top player, or they even go sign Pogba, because right now, us as Man United fans, looking at Pogba, we don't really want him to leave because we're like, who are we going to replace Pogba with? Are we even going to replace Pogba? So with Barca, when a soccer team or the football team has a clear understanding of what they want to achieve, it's easy. With Man United, they've been saying, we're doing this, we're going to improve. It's been 9 years already since Ferguson left. But because the owners, the board, we don't really have a clear understanding. Even the managers that we end up getting, we don't. So Barcelona is a clear example of how you want football to be. without including the business side of it, just football, just clear football. So the way they play now, because like I'm saying, they're happy, they're excited. Next season, they might even win the league, or we might even, speaking like this, even the Champions League. Because the way they're playing, I won't lie to you, they're really scaring me. Because they're playing very freely. And most people are going to say the players they have. Barcelona, they are coming, and I hope Madrid can smack them or even get a draw at least. But yeah, they're getting good. They're getting back to that Barcelona that we know, or they might even surpass what they achieved.
I hear you. Mesh, you wanna add on to what you're saying with regards to Barcelona and Real Madrid?
Yeah, firstly, just to correct you, Barcelona played yesterday. They won 4-0. Yeah, they've been winning. I think the game you're mentioning was on Sunday where they played Elche. Yeah,
That's the key.
but yeah, apart from the game, they played Europa, Galatasaray. They've been scoring goals, 3 goals, 4 goals each match. So yeah, like Sims was saying, Barcelona looks like they're making a comeback. Just in good time because now looking at the way they're trying to finish up the season, they're in third place now, just tied with Atletico, just about I think about 7 points behind Sevilla. So yeah, Barcelona, they're looking good. Obviously also being able to shift focus to the Europa. What you just said, yes, I was making a joke with a friend of mine to saying Barcelona having a chance of winning the Europa. It's something that we never thought Tom will be speaking about. But yeah, here we are now, and they've played Lazio, beating them convincingly. I think this weekend they're playing the Europa, and then on weekend they're playing on the 20th, they're playing Real Madrid on the El Clasico. It's a big week for them. They won the game 4-0 yesterday. Yeah, so against Athletic Club. So yeah, I think this was Osasuna. Yeah, so a big week for them. We'll see how they do. But yeah, they've been doing good, rebuilding. Something what Real Madrid should be doing because Real Madrid is still playing with the same players that we won the 4 Champions League in 5 years with. Looking at the centers, we're still relying on Modric, your Cruz, and yet Barcelona is rebuilding. The next 4 or 5 years, Barcelona is going to dominate again because they've got players like Rookie Puig, which scored yesterday. They've got now Aubameyang, who scored. Ferran Torres, who scored 2 goals as well. And yeah, they've got the likes of Pedri, and Barcelona is looking good. And I think looking at how they moved from being coached by Koeman to now, very good transition by Xavi, and he's been doing good. So it's going to be a big week for them. Europa second leg, 0-0 with Galatasaray, and then on the weekend is the big one, El Clasico.
Yeah, man. Obviously, I can't wait for that game. It's gonna be a match worth watching, especially considering that obviously Barca now are more competitive as opposed to the last El Clasico, where you pretty much knew it was like the game was pretty much done. Real Madrid, it was for Real Madrid to lose. But yeah, man, I've been very impressed with Barca, and they will cause some major problems towards the end of the season. But yeah, man, Sims seems to disappear when I'm about to actually ask him about because he hasn't given us his views in terms of what's happening at Chelsea. And obviously I just got news now that apparently there's a 3.8 million pound. In fact, it's a 3.5 billion dollars that's been offered for the purchase of Chelsea, and it's by a Saudi consortium, by the way. So it looks like maybe things at Chelsea might actually turn around. And I don't know, man. Okay, he's back now finally, because we cannot leave the stream without him hearing his views, because I know he doesn't like Chelsea. So Sims. come on, man. Are we serious? Yeah, I know the internet doesn't want you, bro. It doesn't want him today. It does, because Sims doesn't hold back when he says certain things. But yeah, man. The Chelsea situation is just still intriguing, man, because like even Sky Sports is following it, day by day. And I mean, what do you think? If they get a Saudi consortium, should I say, to the club, do you think it would actually just they'll continue where they left off, or would it be a situation where they'll drop off because maybe the person won't run the club as well as Abramovich did, because Abramovich was running it from a fan's perspective, not from like a business perspective. But we all know with the Saudis, like usually the Arabian owners, like they always invest a lot of money into the clubs that they own, and like they're hungry for success as well. So I don't know. What do you think about this possibility? It could have been us, but unfortunately we stuck with those guys, But yeah, what do you think, Mesh?
Yeah, I'll have to go read up because it's very interesting the developments happening at Chelsea. Yeah, each and every time it's very interesting because now it's a very delicate situation at Chelsea. Them just I think I'm not sure was it they celebrated after winning the Club World Cup, saying we have now won everything. They've actually won everything under the ruling of the Roman Empire. They say the Abramovich, but now having won that, the last trophy, outstanding trophy in the cabinet, and then this happens, and now you need to sell the club. It's I'm not sure, is it yeah, it's written, it's only stuff that you can see in the movies. But now looking at the sale, yeah, they've got players like your Peter Cech that are still the directors of the football there. So we'll see. But obviously, when the owners come, they come with their new changes. But been a big club. Yeah, since Abramovich took over, they've actually dominated. I mean, in the league, in the FA Cup, and now two Champions League, the 2012 one and the 2021 one. They've actually dominated. Amazing. But yeah, we'll see the developments.
Yeah, I've just lost two of my guys now. Yeah, it's load shedding, guys. Unfortunately, network problems. Obviously, further elaborating from what Mesh was saying, is that Chelsea like still have like a strong, spine in terms of the people who are still involved in the technical side of the of the team. You still have your Peter Cech, who's who overlooks the footballing things in within the game. You still have like strong structures. They still have a good director of football. They still have they pretty much still have like the core basis, and that's always gonna be a huge factor. And even if the new owners come in and they still keep that strong spine that they have currently, in them having obviously a Petr Cech involved. They have a good sporting director as well, who's done an amazing job, and she doesn't get credit, but she's been Roman's right hand woman, should I say, at this point. But yeah, man, I mean, I just don't think Chelsea will just disappear, because it's looking good for them at the moment. If they get this owner and he keeps everything as it is, and he just keeps like investing in the team, and apparently he's wealthier than Roman Abramovich. So that's another thing. Whereas the rest of us, like I say, we stuck with our owners, man, with people who haven't even spent a cent from their own pockets at the club. They put us in debt literally, and they just they're the club. Like they sucked the life out of the club. There's a lot of fans that actually left United, and they decided that they're no longer gonna attend games at Old Trafford. So yeah, man, good developments at Chelsea, and I think we pretty much did sum up everything. Obviously we've got the Champions League. I do this every time, every Mondays. When we have Champions League games coming. And I'd like to hear a prediction, man, because hey, guys have been flopping with predictions. Last time Sims and then Celso, they both got their predictions wrong. In terms of, but obviously looking at the Champions League games taking place now, what's your predictions for the games?
Man, predictions. I'm even struggling with my betting. Just to put a summary on prediction. But yeah, I was speaking to a friend, looking at the last 8 teams that are left. I told him that I see Ajax, Juventus, Chelsea, of course, and Man United, because I feel Man United has an edge at the Old Trafford. It's not what you call it, no away goals. So even if Atletico scores, we just need to score more goals. Atletico hasn't been doing well themselves, even against lower teams at the La Liga. So yeah, I think Man United should win. Although Atletico has the edge of having an extra day of rest, but obviously that is them being traveling to England, and then Ajax. 2-2 aggregate. But they've got the top goal scorer of the current league. So the high scoring team, they're playing at home. So I fancy them getting past Benfica. And then Juventus against Villarreal, 1-1 draw at the first leg. I see Juventus winning. They won 3-1. Morata scoring some goals on the weekend. So I see them progressing because, I mean, at home, the Italians are very defensive. And Villarreal, they got into this competition by beating us last season on the Europa final. So I think they won't get past Juventus. And then of course Chelsea, having led a 2-0 aggregate, I think they're still going to, although whatever is happening outside the boardroom, Chelsea is a very strong team. They've got a coach, Thomas Tuchel. Since he came to Chelsea, they've been a very good defensive side. I mean, looking at how he took over from Lampard and up until he won the Champions League with them. So I don't think the French team will do anything. So yeah, Man United, Ajax, Juventus, and Chelsea, of course. That's my prediction. If you want score prediction, that's a bit hard, my man. Like I said, I'm even struggling with
I won't put you on the spot like that. Yeah, man. Pretty much straightforward, I think. I think that's more or less the predictions I have as well. I said the only thing I think I got wrong was the Man United one. I thought that the Atletico was gonna beat us, man. Because I mean, to be honest, we're just bad. So you didn't know where to side and where to look at things. So I think that's the only prediction I got wrong. But I did say Ajax. I did think that Ajax will go through. I've kind of sort of changed my mind a little bit with the Man United. I'm sort of giving them like a chance now. I think it's gonna be Ajax, Man United, Juventus, and Chelsea. It's not gonna chase them. Score predictions is very difficult. We don't do that here, man. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, man. Once again, thanks for coming through, man, and sharing your views and giving the show a little bit of spark. And I'm sure it hasn't been a bad weekend for you, man.
No, it hasn't been a bad weekend. So my local team, Orlando Pirates, actually also won on the Confederation Cup, Eswatini. Scoring, winning 3-0. My English team, Man United, won against Tottenham, going into the game. tomorrow against Atletico, and now Real Madrid tonight. After the magical night they pulled against your Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe lineup PSG. So they're going into playing Mallorca. Hopefully they extend the lead because now focus needs to shift back into the La Liga. So yeah, it hasn't been a good week, a bad weekend. So it's been a good sporting weekend. So yeah, let's see. We go again tomorrow, Champions League, and then yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see.
No, man. Thanks once again for coming on to the show, man. And it's been a blessed Monday podcast. And yeah, man. We go again. We see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, I won't come out with a reaction video where I'm just, where I'm just cussing and swearing and whatever. Because I did that the last time. Man United lost. I think it was the game prior to the Man City game, right, where we were destroyed completely. I came out with an angry reaction video afterwards, and I was just pissed. I was angry at the time. I lost the plot a little bit, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll have a nice reaction video where we're saying, we're happy that Man United got through, and on to the next one. The weekend awaits, and yeah, man. Take care, man. And once again, thanks for coming on. And hopefully next week you'll join us again.
Nah, thanks, man. Shout out to Celso for calling me up. It's been a good show. Thanks, Noah, man. Yeah, next time. Thanks, buddy.
All the time, man. Please, guys, before we leave, like and share the video, and do help support the channel. We are a community, and everyone is welcome. Whether you're a Chelsea fan, whether you're an Arsenal fan, don't be intimidated, because you always see Man United fans here. But I'm sure people are welcome. Anyone is welcome to come through, share their views, and let's have a proper conversation. And I also want to introduce a new show that I might do weekly as well, where I'm gonna be inviting all types of fans from different teams that support different teams, and we're gonna have sort of like a Big 7 or Big 8 type of show where everyone is coming through, everyone can banter. It's gonna be free banter. We laugh at each other. If you had a bad result, this show is gonna be a good one. If you had a good result, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna have fun, and we're just gonna throw some shades and banter, and I hope people can take it. But yeah, man. Otherwise, guys, do have yourselves a good night, and do enjoy the game as well, Mesh. You're gonna be watching it, right?
Of course, I'll be watching. The Real Madrid one, you mean, right? Yeah, and tomorrow the Man United, of course, we'll watch it.
Nah, nice one, man. Take care, man.
Happy to be back home after 12 years.
Good game, a really good game.
Like I said to Martinelli.
Hello, Antonio. Nice to see you again.
Hello, good afternoon.
It's gone through Laporte. Rodri!
Dieser Lewandowski-Auftritt sorgt für Wirbel.
Looks like you lost another one.